Welcome to Antapana. This is your host Ashok. We're going to talk about a book called Atomic Habits, and this is not a book review and this is not a book summary. We're going to talk about how to implement this book. The story goes like this: the British cycling team did not win a single medal for 100 straight years. The bicycle companies were reluctant to give bicycles because they thought that will damage the brand name. David Brailsford was roped in as a performance coach. Then what he did was phenomenal. He did very small changes. He called it as the aggregation of marginal gains. What he did was unobvious: rubbing alcohol on the tires for better grip, procuring good pillows for a good night's sleep so they can perform the next day to an optimal level, good posture for sleep. He hired surgeons to teach the athletes how to clean their hands, wash their hands properly so they don't get sick. They procured electrically heated shots for quick muscle recovery. They did everything possible to make sure that they're going to perform up the optimal level. Hundreds of small improvements, aggregation of marginal gains. All these small things were implemented, and the British cycling team won 6 Olympic gold in 2008 Olympics. And following Olympics, they did win 9 gold actually, and they have won around 178 championships and 66 Olympics medals in last 10 years. This is how the aggregation of marginal gains really worked for the team. And David believes that this phenomena can be emulated outside the cycling arena. So that is what we are going to see, how the atomic habits help employees and entrepreneurs to work at the optimal level. There are really nice concepts in this book, so we'll look into a few of them right now. There's something called 1% improvement. Just imagine you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee and you want to improve your email writing skills by 1% per day. By end of the year, you'll be 38% better than your previous year's version. So that's a phenomenal difference. Or let's make it even easier to understand: what if you deviate from doing something? Where will you really land? Let's look into this one. If a pilot deviates by just 1 degree, right, he will be deviating 1 mile per 60 miles traveled. In case the journey is 2000 kilometers, the pilot will probably land in a different state or city, or even in a different country. So when you compound the changes, the difference is very drastic. So that is what the 1% improvement or 1 degree deviation explains us, right? So that is a very important concept in this book. The most fascinating concept in this book, what I really loved, is the valley of disappointment and the plateau of latent potential. Actually both are the same, but it's actually put in a very nice way. Let's see what is valley of disappointment. Out, or probably you're consuming green tea or lemon tea every day, you don't see an exponential increase, or probably you will never see any change at all. It is going to be very simple, right? So at one point we'll be thinking it's not even working and we might give up. But what happens is there is a spot where it starts to grow up, and most of the people, we just miss out on that. For example, boiling water. If you put a cup of water to boil, probably at 99 degrees it's still getting heated, but on the 100 degree it's boiling. It doesn't mean that there's no change happened for till 99, right? It takes that 1 degree to kind of make the boil happen. Similarly, there's something called the valley of disappointment. When it is about to take off, the valley of disappointment is where people give up. So don't give up, it will still happen. And the plateau of latent potential is again the same thing. So it is the growth that is happening, but it is not very evident, but it is still happening. It takes at one point to just take a exponential curve, which most of the people don't recognize. We can kind of understand by a small story. There is a bamboo species, right, that has to be watered every single day without fail. It will never show any sign of life or activity for 5 full years. No activity for 5 full years. But suddenly after 5 years, it starts shooting up few feet per day, every single day, right? Now what we have to understand is that the seed is being growing not upward but downward. Its root is prepped up, it's good to grow, and when it starts, it goes a few feet every day, right? So that is what we should understand. So this book very nicely covers about the value of disappointment and the plateau of great potential, right? Latent potential. So please don't give up before the results show up. Have patience, it'll definitely show up. So that is a great lesson from this book. So everybody talks about goals, right? Everybody has a goal. The one common thing between a loser and a winner is goal. Everybody has a goal. Losing weight, running a marathon, making crores of rupees. Everybody has a goal. But who has a system is the winner, right? This book really makes it very clear, right? Don't set goals, make systems. Yeah. So we don't rise up to the goals, but we fall to the systems. So that is excellently put out. Now we're going to talk about the habits, right? Let it be a good habit, let it be a bad habit. The fundamentals are same. If you look at habit, the first is the trigger or the cue. The second is craving, your strong desire. The third one is the response. What do you do to quench your craving? The fourth is the reward. What do you achieve after it? So for good or bad, it is the same. Unfortunately, bad habits are easy to pick because the friction is very less. So let's design something to make good habits stick around and bad habits to shell away. Let's take the good habit. Let's take a simple example, drinking water. What should I do to drink good amount of water every single day? First, the cue aspect of it, the trigger. So the trigger should be obvious, very easy to identify. What shall we do? Take good bottles, buy good ones, fill with clean water, keep it wherever you have a visible spectrum, right? So in top of your table, probably in your car, probably in your sofa, probably on the kitchen counter, wherever it's easy to pick it up. Just make that possible. The second thing is craving, right? Craving, you should make it very attractive. What is attractive about water? Why can't it be? Add little essence, buy good water bottles so you feel good about having it. Add a nice apple flavor to it or mint flavor to it, or if you want, add a few ice blocks or ice cubes to make it even attractive. So you can definitely make it attractive. Good habits need to be attractive to kind of stick around for a while. So the second is making it attractive. The third one is response. It should be frictionless. You have to get it instantly, right? So it has to be on your table. It is not that you need to drink water, you go to the hallway, go to the kitchen, open the refrigerator. The time gap is so much, so you will just postpone it. It should be instantaneous, right? It should be there in front of you. So make it very, very frictionless, make it very easy. The third important principle. The fourth one is rewarding. It should be utterly satisfying. You should feel you're satisfied. For example, every sip of water when you drink, you should think that you're taking the goodness of the nature, right? It's the mental makeup. You should feel good about it. You should have gratitude. So that will make you feel happy about it and satisfied. So that is very important. Now, the counterpart of it, how to break a bad one. Let's take this example. You are a smoker and you have an intent to break this habit. The first is the trigger, the cue. Make it invisible. You should not have a cigarette packet in your house, or wherever you go, you should not see it. So design your environment in such a way that you will never get to see a cigarette packet. So you have no craving. So the trigger doesn't happen, so there's no craving. Okay. The second thing is, so something happened, you had to take a cigarette. Okay. So you will have to make it unattractive. The cigarette companies make the cover unattractive by putting the cancer patients and mouth ulcers. Despite that, people pick it up, right? Because it has very little friction. People get accustomed to it because it's easily available. Friends offer you get it from a shop. It's very easy to buy. So make it very unattractive. Whenever you smoke a cigarette, right, think about those ill effects. Like just put a small image in your mind. So what will happen if you keep smoking for several years? You might get all those complications, right? So you have to make sure that you have that very dirty feeling after smoking. So you will get your craving level a lot lesser actually. So that is one way of doing it. The third one is your response. To get a cigarette, it should not be easy. There should be a lot of friction, right? A lot of friction. Probably give the cigarette packet to your wife and ask her whenever you want. Probably you'll never get it. So that is a good way to design friction, right? So if you want to buy a fag, don't put packets in your house. Even if you want to buy, you should go to a certain place to buy a cigarette, right? So that the distance is friction, right? So in World War II, a country had the nuke code in a small capsule, and they got a volunteer and they kind of ingested in the gut. So if anybody wants to activate the code, you have to take the butcher knife, cut over the gut, take the code, which is utterly unsatisfying. So that country didn't nuke anybody. So that the nuclear warhead was not activated. So that design saved a lot of lives. So make it utterly unsatisfying, right? So you will never touch it again. So these principles help you to build great habits and break bad ones. The cue, your craving, your response, and your reward. So four different aspects you can design for yourself. Unfortunately, bad habits stick around very easy because the cue is very strong, the friction is very less, it is very attractive, and it is utterly satisfying. So if you counter design this, it's going to be a lot more easy to design your entire destiny. So this is a beautiful concept that this book has covered. Let's look into 3 simple strategies to make good habits to stay with us for a very long time. The first strategy is to be very specific. After having a good tea, I will read 5 pages. It has to be very specific for your habits to stick around. The second strategy is the 2-minute rule. I really loved it. So initially, when you want to accumulate a new habit, the friction should be the least, right? The 2-minute habit, the rule is very simple. For example, there's a nice story that's covered in this book. An athlete or a person who works out profusely in a gym, she says that she has to do only one thing: wear the sports shoes, take a cab to the gym, right? If you just have that in thought in your mind, right, your workout is going to be very easy. If you think you're going to work out for 4 hours, it's a very difficult task. But if you think that you're going to take just a taxi to the gym, it's already automated, right? So we will have to design all our new habits for the 2 minutes rule. So make sure that it is very easy to pick up within 2 minutes. So that's a great strategy. The third is called the habit stacking. After brushing your teeth, drink 1 full glass of warm water. Simple, right? Your habit is ingrained in you, brushing your teeth. Just add a cup of warm water, right? So that is habit stacking. You have a habit, slap a positive habit to it. So that's going to be very easy, right? After watching television, you read 5 pages. So watching television is your habit. You just slap 1 more new habit to it. Habit stacking. Habit stacking is that you have a solid habit already, put a new one, whatever you want to acquire. It's going to be very easy. There's very little friction. So 3 principles: make it specific, 2-minute rule, habit stacking. You can do a great job. The first one, the paperclip strategy, is really nice. It is kind of a gamification of your good habits. Buy a set of colored paper clips and have a small glass jar, whatever it is, whatever available. So if you are an entrepreneur, you do a certain number of prospecting every day. If you take a cold call, put a blue one. If you had a tough conversation, put a red one. If you had a very nice conversation, put a yellow one. End of the day, you see the jar filled with paper clips. You know how much you've covered for the day. So that gives you a rush of dopamine, and you are utterly satisfied with your results. And doing it every single day, your habit keep reinforcing, and good things will stick around for a long time. That's a fantastic way of doing it. The second one is the Goldilocks rule. What it says is that humans get bored if you do a certain thing for a long time, right? So what you should be doing is you should challenge yourself. And humans cannot take challenges which is more than 4% of the current ability, right? So that's very important. So design something that challenges you a little more than your ability. So that gives you a constant rush. So game designers, the video game designers understand this very well. They give you challenges slightly above your comfort level, so you keep pushing your limits to go to the next level. So Goldilocks rule gives you the device to gamify your growth platform. That's a beautiful idea. Then the last one, the bonus, is my strategy. That's called the find and replace strategy, or the system, if you can call that way. So it's very simple. Let's talk about food habits. Oh, what do you have in the morning? How many coffees you have per day? How many snacks you have per day? What is your intake? How many calories? You have a chart very clearly done, Monday to Friday probably. Then you have to find and replace coffee with lemon tea, coffee with green tea, right? It's finding and replacing. Very simple, right? So your TV time with reading, your video game time with actual playing on the field, and whatever you want to replace for good. You just have to kind of list it down, find some habit what you want to replace, take this new habit and replace this. There's definitely going to be a little friction, but remember how to design your good habits without friction, making it attractive, making it easy, making it rewarding, and all these principles will help you to kind of build great habits and lose bad ones, right? And thanks for joining, thanks for sticking around to see the entire video, and I would request you to go and subscribe for this channel. So what we're going to do is, for every 25 subs we're going to plant a tree, a real one. So you don't have to hit the bell icon, because you don't need unnecessary notifications, because every single notification is going to kind of push you 23 minutes back in your focus time. So any small notification disturbs you for 23 minutes. So I don't want you to get disturbed. But please subscribe. Every 25 subs we will plant a real tree, and we will make an episode on where we are going to plant those. And thanks once again.